about the Mi 10. For everyone today, I will be segmenting my presentation into 4 different parts. Let's start by talking about this gorgeous flagship display. While the Mi 10 features one of industry's most color-accurate displays, it is also the brightest panel which we have ever shipped in the India market. The display also is HDR10 Plus compliant. Now this means that it adds dynamic metadata to the HDR signal. Simplified, it basically means that the content which you consume on the Mi 10's display feels more exciting, feels more realistic. Now a display like this is crafted keeping the professionals in mind. If you categorize yourself under any of these cohorts, for example, a designer who uses the power of their smartphone to showcase their creativity, or a professional photographer, or a content creator, this display will impress you in the first glance itself. But why do I say that, and why should you believe me? Pro Max is far superior. To read the data right, smaller the number, the better would be the color accuracy. What I hold in my hands today is a gorgeous, not just looks good, but it also adds to the overall ergonomics of the display. By far the brightest panel which we have ever shipped in the India market. The second important thing which I wanted to highlight today will be the application of the 20 megapixel front camera module. Now, the left alignment of the camera module basically ensures that it does not come into the way when you are consuming your favorite content or playing your favorite games. Now, as you can see it on your screens, the application of the front camera module is tiny. It's actually like a micro dot. Now, if you look at the visible aperture, it is at 4.08 mm. But if you look at the actual camera aperture, it is at only 3.84 mm. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the brightest panel which we have ever shipped in the India market. The max brightness pushes up to 800 nits. And under the HBM mode, the peak brightness can push up to 1120 nits. Now, no matter how harsh the lighting conditions are, or even if you are under direct sunlight, the in-screen ambient light sensors will automatically help the Mi 10 adjust the display brightness to always offer an eye-pleasing experience. Talking more about the display refreshes 90 times per second and is combined with a touch sensing rate of 180 Hz. Now this basically means smoother scrolling, and it also gives an edge to all our gamers out there when it comes to online competitive gaming. So let me quickly summarize all the talking points which I just covered. The Mi 10 features a gorgeous 6.67-inch 3D curved AMOLED display, which is also industry's most color accurate display. Like I mentioned earlier, the Mi 10 features the brightest display panel which we have ever shipped in the India market, and the peak brightness pushes up to 1120 nits. The display also houses a left-aligned micro dot 20 megapixel front camera module which never comes in the way when you are watching your favorite content or playing your favorite games. The display also boasts of 90 Hz refresh rate, which is combined with 180 Hz of touch sampling rate to give you a smoother scrolling experience and edge in competitive gaming. Now let's quickly move to the highlight of the Mi 10, which is its industry-leading camera setup. But before I talk about it, I would like to take a moment to thank our India camera team and our India testing team for all their hard work. And I also want to emphasize that you have never experienced a camera setup like this on a smartphone ever before. Allow me to give you a sneak peek into what the Mi 10's camera setup can actually do. Mi 10 is one of the few flagships out there which allow you to shoot 8K videos. It also comes loaded with tons of brand new software features such as color focus mode, portrait video mode, and much more. Now let's start by talking about why 8K. We are all familiar with Full HD resolution. It's a resolution we have all worked upon and consumed over last several years. Now if you compare Full HD with 4K, 4K videos pack way more detailing as it features 4 times the pixel count of Full HD resolution. But when it comes to 8K, it packs 16 times more pixels when compared to the Full HD resolution. More pixels allow more granular level details to stand out. Not just that, with a resolution so huge, it almost feels like that you are rolling 2 cameras simultaneously. Talking about resolution, you can always downscale 8K footages into 4K files, and in terms of quality, it will be still better than shooting in native 4K. I would like like to emphasize upon that 8K is the future of cinematic videography, and all the content which you shoot today on the Mi 10 is going to be future-proof. Even after 10 years, you can simply pick up footages from your archive and they will still be relevant. Talking more about videography, the Mi 10 also features a brand new shoot steady mode, which is a combination of OIS and EIS, and it produces some really stabilized footage. Now, even when you are shooting situations or difficult terrains, your footage is stabilized and ready for use. Now, let's talk about the 108 megapixel sensor. This sensor was developed in collaboration with Samsung's imaging division team and is by far the largest sensor ever used on a commercially available smartphone. Let's take a look at how big this sensor actually is. Now, if you compare the 108 megapixel sensor with the 12 megapixel sensor on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, it's huge. The Mi 10 utilizes a large 1 by 1.33 inch sensor which allows more light to be captured and produces some killer shots. The large sensor allows Mi 10 to beat all its competitors, and especially when it comes to the low lighting performance, which I will cover a little later. Now let's take a closer look into the camera setup. As you can see here, the 108 megapixel sensor is housed in the middle of the top camera module. It features a large f1.69 aperture, allowing more light to come in with 7p lenses and is also OIS stabilized. It also features a 13 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with a field of view of 123 degrees and is complemented with a 2 megapixel macro lens and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. At the bottom, you will also find a dual LED flash and a flicker sensor which is built within. The 108 megapixel sensor, which is also the primary sensor, comes with OIS, which means that it allows you to produce some great stabilized content even when you are shooting in difficult terrains or harshest of the conditions. Now, street photography is one of my favorite styles, and one thing to note about street photography is how intuitive it is. You don't have the time to make mistakes, things move fast, and there are numerous stories in each and every frame. Now, this leaves you with even less time to frame a photograph accordingly. With the 108 megapixel sensor, you get that particular edge. You have more details in each frame, which allows you to reframe your images while editing. And also while you shoot, you have one less thing to worry about. Here's a beautiful shot from Shimla which our team clicked. As you can see, it has incredible dynamic range, and one way you can appreciate the goodness of 108 megapixel sensor is by looking at details which are even further away. Let's talk about night mode. Now, like I said earlier, everything has been reimagined and reworked when it comes to the camera module on the Mi 10. And that's why we are calling night mode 2.0 when it comes to the Mi 10. Let me show you a few examples to prove this point. One of the biggest challenges with night photography on smartphones has always been the grain in an image. In the absence of abundant light, the camera struggles to maintain correct exposure, and as a result of that, noise creeps in. An ideal night shot would be perfectly exposed and would be noise-free, and this is exactly what we can see here. The night mode implementation on the Mi 10 is our finest implementation of night mode ever. A large sensor allows more light to come in and is clubbed with computational photography, which gives us an edge to deal with the absence of abundant light. Both the samples, as you see, have accurate color representation, are correctly exposed, and carry bare minimum noise while retaining the details even in the shadows. Let's talk about the portrait mode. The portrait mode has been our finest implementation of all the learnings which we have acquired over the recent years. The edge detection seems natural, and all the colors throughout the frame are accurate and the details are sharp. Making use of the new feature on the Mi 10, you can shoot cinematic portraits in 2.35:1 aspect ratio, like the one which you can see here. We are also introducing AI 2.0. With this, you get exposure correction, color adjustment, brightness tuning, and it also helps with reducing the noise in the image, fixing the contrast, and enabling or disabling auto HDR. Now, if you remember, a few years back, we revolutionized the manual photography in the smartphone space by giving more control into the user's hands. Today, we are introducing Pro Video Mode on the Mi 10, extending the same philosophy, and I can assure you, you have never experienced anything like this before in the smartphone space. With this addition, the idea is to emulate a professional camera experience through a smartphone camera. The Pro mode comes loaded with all these features. We of course ran out of space while trying to add all of it here, so here are a few. And here is a video which sums up most of the features which you will be experiencing in the Pro camera module on the Mi 10. While talking about emulating the professional camera experience on a smartphone, we just did not stop at adding features which help you shoot, but we also went ahead and added another feature which helps you when you are actually editing your videos. Now, when you shoot videos in the log mode, you have much more dynamic information retained in the video itself, and which is a much better starting point when you start color grading your videos. Now, here is a quick video to explain it a little bit further. Now, you cannot have a professional camera without the ability to shoot images in the RAW mode, and that's where the Mi 10 comes in. On the Mi 10, you can also shoot images in RAW mode. Now, the samples which you see on your screen, of course, the unprocessed RAW carries a lot of information which is not tapped into. But with the new editing tools, you can edit these images and accentuate them even further. No wonder the file size is so huge. To sum it up, the Mi 10 uses a large 1x1.33-inch 108 megapixel sensor as its primary camera, along with a 7B lens system. It is also one of the first few phones to offer 8K video recording. We have also built in a shoot steady mode which combines OIS and EIS to produce some really stabilized footage. With that, you get a completely reworked night mode, a new portrait video mode, a movie mode, along with multiple exposure level controls and focus peaking. Let's quickly talk about performance. The Mi 10 in India will be powered by Qualcomm's flagship Snapdragon 865 SoC. Snapdragon 865 is manufactured on 7nm process technology, which makes it one of the most power efficient SoCs in the market. Now, when you compare Snapdragon 865 with its predecessor, you also get the support for dual band 5G and support for the all new Wi-Fi 6 protocol. Not just that, it is also 25% faster than its predecessor and delivers up to 100% performance boost on the AI front, something which I already touched upon in the camera segment. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the Mi 10 is a future-ready device even when it comes to the network or the connectivity protocols. With the support for Wi-Fi 6, Mi 10 delivers stable connectivity and delivers outstanding upload and download speeds even in congested areas. The flagship Snapdragon 865 processor is also combined with industry's fastest RAM available for mobile computing, which is LPDDR5. It delivers up to 30% faster performance with optimized power efficiency. Not just that, we exactly know how our fans will be using their devices. Hence, we took the call to ship the fastest UFS 3.0 storage across all the variants for blazing read and write speeds. Talking about the variants, there will be two options available for the India market. 8 GB of RAM combined with 128 GB of storage, and 8 GB of RAM combined with 256 GB of storage. Both the variants will carry LPDDR5 RAM and UFS 3.0 storage. Now, with such heavy performance in such a compact form factor, thermal management becomes a part of the business itself. For the very first time, we are combining vapor chamber liquid cooling, 7-layer of graphite stack and graphene together to effectively reduce the CPU temperature by 10.5 degrees Celsius. Now, this is especially important for a country like ours where the temperature is already soaring above 40 degrees Celsius. With a triple cooling layer mechanism, which essentially combines vapor chamber liquid cooling with graphite stack and graphene, regulates the CPU temperature to deliver that sustained peak performance which you have always expected from a flagship like this. Now, this brings me to the end of the performance section. Allow me to quickly summarize. Mi 10 in India is powered by Qualcomm's flagship Snapdragon 865 processor, which is built on a 7nm process technology. With the new SoC, Mi 10 is a future-ready device with support for 5G and Wi-Fi 6 out of the box. We have also built in a 3-layer cooling mechanism with vapor chamber liquid cooling, graphite stack and graphene to regulate the CPU temperature for sustained peak performance. Not just that, the flagship SoC is combined with the fastest RAM and storage options to deliver that outstanding performance. Now let's talk about power. The Mi 10 houses one of the biggest batteries when you compare it with the other flagship phones. Even with a larger battery, we have ensured that it does not hinder with the overall ergonomics of the device. As you can see here, we are utilizing a vertical battery design. Now, by redesigning the battery, we have managed to keep the frame thickness at 2.2 millimeters and the overall thickness at 8.96 millimeters. It fits firmly into your hand and it gives you a confident grip, all thanks to the internal chassis and the battery design. Mi 10 features 30-watt wire turbo. Wireless charging compatible devices because it features 10-watt reverse wireless charging. Obviously, this is Qi compatible, so it works with all your other devices as well. So what you get on the Mi 10 is triple fast charge, 30-watt wired turbo charging with 30-watt charger in the box itself, industry's fastest 30-watt wireless charging, and 10-watt reverse wireless charging, which is Qi compatible. As you already know, we recently announced the arrival of our first product in the wireless charging space. It was the 10,000 mAh Mi Wireless Power Bank, which allows you to charge your devices wirelessly at 10 watt, and if you are charging it with a wired connection, it obviously charges at 18 watt. And today, I'm taking this opportunity to announce the second product in the wireless category space, announcing the arrival of Mi 30-watt wireless charger, which is Qi certified and comes with a fan built within. Please head on to our Mi.com pages to know more about it. To sum it up, Mi 10 is faster than ever with Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 and X55 dual-band 5G modem. It also is cooler than ever with 3 solutions coming in together to effectively reduce the CPU temperature by 10.5 degrees Celsius. More power than ever with 4,780 mAh of battery and triple fast charge, 30-watt wired, 30-watt wireless, and 10-watt reverse wireless charging with 30-watt charger in the box itself. The last thing which I wanted to cover today is the overall device experience and how your device reacts when you actually interact with it. We have completely reworked the haptic engine feedback on the Mi 10. Allow me to quickly explain. We are introducing X-axis linear vibration motor which simulates the feel of a mechanical keyboard. Not just that, we combined it with 150 different frequencies matched with different use case scenarios to offer a unique haptic feedback every single time. The second important thing which I wanted to touch upon is something which is very close to my heart, and which is the audio experience on the Mi 10. To match up to the brilliant display quality which I touched upon, Mi 10 in India will feature stereo speakers. This is an intelligent stereo setup which works along with multiple other sensors to understand the device orientation and switch the speakers automatically. Now this is especially useful for games which utilize dual channel audio like PUBG and many others. Now Mi 10 features the largest stereo speaker setup. It is 12mm by 16mm, and I'm talking about both the speakers which you see on your screen right now. Now if you compare the Mi 10 speaker setup along with iPhone 11 Pro Max or Samsung S20 Ultras, you will see that they are using disproportionate speakers where one speaker is smaller in size and the other speaker is of course large. Now this is going to produce imbalanced sound because you need similar speakers of the same make or the same model to produce balanced sound. Extending from amazing stereo sound, the Mi 10 also supports LHDC audio codec right out of the box itself. Now if you compare LHDC audio codec with a standard Bluetooth audio codec, also known as SBC, the data transmission rate is almost 3 times. And now that particularly supports the high resolution audio which you have always wanted from your Bluetooth headphones or your. Now combine this with the true wireless solution which Vinita just spoke about for complete audio bliss. Now speed and stability is an experience, and to exactly ensure that, we are introducing 5G multi-link on Mi 10. This feature would allow the phone to connect to 3 networks simultaneously, including a 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi plus a 5 GHz Wi-Fi plus a 5G or a 4G mobile network. Now this means that the phone will be able to connect to 2 different Wi-Fi networks and use the mobile data at the same time. This feature has been introduced to maintain a stable and consistent smartphone experience. So that's the all-new Mi 10. It comes with a 108 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization. You get the support for Snapdragon 865, 5G and Wi-Fi 6 along with that. It comes with a beautiful and a gorgeous 3D curved E3 AMOLED display which is at 6.67 inches. Comes with fastest wireless charging which is at 30 watts. Comes with a 30-watt wired charging and a 30-watt charger of course in the box itself. Stereo speakers and much more. You get 2 variants in the India market, 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, and 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. Now to talk more about the pricing and the availability, let me have Manu back on your screens.
Thank you so much Raghu, Vinita and Sumit for taking us through these really incredible products. So we launched 3 Mi products today. We launched Mi Box 4K, Mi TWS that all of you guys were asking for, and of course we launched our flagship Mi 10. Mi 10 is a true flagship phone. It not only comes with Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, it has 3D curved AMOLED, it has up to 30 watt of wireless charging with 10 watt of reverse wireless charging, and of course it comes with the incredible 108 megapixel camera sensor. Personally, I believe that in 2020, if your phone does not have a 108 megapixel camera sensor, it is not a flagship. You need to experience this camera to truly believe what it can do. When we were launching this phone, we looked at the entire industry and we couldn't find anything which is even remotely comparable. The only other device which has 108 megapixel camera sensor in India is Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra. But I believe Mi 10 is significantly better. It has Qualcomm Snapdragon 865, which is much better and faster than the Exynos processor on S20 Ultra. It also supports up to 30 watt of wireless charging, which is much faster than Samsung S20 Ultra. And Samsung S20 Ultra, the 128GB variant, sells for more than 95,000 rupees. If you look at our global pricing, our China pricing of Mi 10, it's 3,999 RMB. And if you translate this into Indian rupees, it comes out to around 43,000 rupees. And if you add the latest 18% GST on it, it goes way beyond 50,000 rupees. I'm happy to share that we are launching Mi 10 8GB, 128GB variant at only 49,999 rupees, and the 8GB, 256GB variant is being launched at 54,999 rupees. Not just this, we also have exciting offers for all of you guys. Every Mi 10 during the pre-booking period will get a Mi wireless power bank worth 2,500 rupees free. We will also have no cost EMI options on both online and offline platforms. And yes, every Mi fan who buys Mi 10 using an HDFC Bank credit card or debit card will get up to rupees 3,000 back. So I hope all of you guys will really love these three products. Please take care of yourself, stay at home, stay safe. Take care guys. Namaste.